One of today's best reviewed shows is the first ever career retrospective of artist Amy Silman. And as WGBH arts editor Jared Bowen discovered when he sat down with Silman, her work includes a most unlikely canvas.
Amy Silman, One Lump or Two, is the first ever museum survey of the art world favorite. 25 years of her humor and painting and exploration.
I have a personal relationship with every single thing in here. I mean, I dragged it around. I probably built it or stretched it or I touched it. I probably mangled it. I probably wrecked it and then saved it before it even got here.
The Brooklyn artist is acclaimed in art circles for her point of view, for her use of the line, and the way she's brought attention and enthusiasm back to painting itself. And in no short measure because of her work in abstract expressionism. But seeing a career's worth of work here, Silman is as nuanced as her work.
It's weird. I think it's probably like if you were a mother and you had 100 children and they all got in a room. It's kind of like I said to everyone, it's a combination of a bar mitzvah and menopause.
That's good.
In other words, cold feet and hot flashes.
Silman is a funny lady, as her work shows. For example, her series of cartoons that depict the utterly relatable everyday horror of just being human. And just as her humor engages our intellect, her painting engages our emotion. Silman has a very organic way of working, she says.
I have a framework, but I'm actually interested in surprising myself and in discovering something that I didn't know, and that process is very uncertain, and it leads to paintings that went in the dumpster and paintings that worked out. I don't know how else to call it except kind of a weird negotiation between thinking and feeling.
As the energy on her canvases suggests, it's also very physical.
There's a lot of deconstruction and reconstruction. There's a lot of moving it from one state to another. You know, a lot of my paintings go through stages of extreme uncertainty or not knowingness before they get to being done, and I'm not sure why or when they're done. One
certainty Silman does have, she does not prefer the pretty.
I don't think that the goal is to find out how beautiful things can get. And ugliness is interesting. It's more anxious. It's more, it allows the anxiety to be in the room so that the uncertainty of anxiety could be a valuable state to sort of for something to remain in or be kind of recognized as important as a state of mind.
It is a nebulous world Silman creates. As the show points out, the artist doesn't believe in either or. Her work is rife with realism and abstraction, the sweet and the acerbic, the silly and the wrenching. You can take it however you'd like, one lump or two.
And Jared Bowen is here. She's quirky.
She's great. Yeah. She's great. She's she's so fun in person, and it's interesting that you can see the line between her personality and her work. It's funny that you say that because I hadn't thought about it. But it's perhaps the first time I've ever experienced that with an artist.
Now, what distinguishes her? Why would she get her own show like this?
Because I think there's so few people like her working today. And first of all, she is so prolific in the way that she's working, and you get to see this. It's somewhat
arranged chronologically, so you see how she begins with this portraiture and these really funny
good.
The portraits are great, and you see her humor right away. I don't know if you saw one of them was X'd out. This is a failure.
I saw that, yeah.
Which is hilarious. And then she evolves and she goes into this abstract work, and the color here is just amazing. What she's able to do with color, what she's able to do with a line, and then if you're walking through the gallery and you actually spend more time with it, you see how elements work from one to the next.
She also has started doing work with iPhones. Explain that.
She has. I mean, so she's gone the full spectrum, and you can see here she's made sort of an animated flip book that she did do with her iPhone. She's now also working with the iPad, where she takes an image, touches that image up, and then works with it all on this new 21st century canvas. So she's continually pushing herself to do new things.
Well, that's cool. Now, does anybody else do anything like that?
Well, it's interesting. If you start to look at it, the first time I ever noticed this was several years ago when we both covered
the David Hockney show at the Museum of Fine Arts. And here you see David Hockney working. I mean, of course, he's known for his great California pools and the way he can do still life here. Again, he's working with iPads and iPhones, and this has become a mainstay of his work, even to the extent at which he's now having sole exhibitions based on this new kind of technology. Another person that we were looking at, aside from David Hockney, Andre Woolery and Victor Abadjoudi. These are pieces that are invisible hieroglyphics, and basically what they've done is they've taken the oils from your fingers when you're swiping across a page on your phone to play Angry Birds or to do Facebook, and this is the art that's created. And in its own way, it's sort of own abstract look at art.
Okay.
Another person that we looked at, and this person, Brendan Kelly, reminded me, doesn't he remind you?
This looks like David Hockney.
It looks like David Hockney. And what I find so striking about this work is you can see how different it can be on the iPad between this piece where you have these vibrant colors, and then here where it's just such a different color scheme.
And that's on an iPad too?
This isn't,
but
doesn't it look like a canvas?
painting on an iPad?
Yeah, I know that a lot of people use an application called, I think it's Brushes, and this is how they're able to do that.
I see.
And this is all from a series in Mallorca that he created, and it's, you know, this is what you're actually seeing. It's quite vivid, it's quite brilliant, and so this is where we see artists going. And then finally, we saw a local artist as well. His name is Morgan Russell. He's a Hingham artist who still works in traditional abstract ways, just like Amy Silman, but is doing things on his iPhone and iPad as well. And he has said, he told the Globe, who did a profile last year, that this is something that really reinvigorated him.
That's good. I got to check that out. Where's Amy Silman from, by the way?
She grew up in Detroit and lives in Brooklyn.
Oh,
so she's got that fun New York sensibility.
Yeah, I can see that. She was definitely not local. All right. Jared Bowen, thanks so much. That was great.